You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan Okelo, live from Seattle, Washington, USA.
Thank you so much for joining me for another session of the Daily African Proverbs. I am so excited to be here with you all. I love being here every day from Monday to Friday. We share a new African proverb and we gain African wisdom from it. So our goal every day is we gather, share, and dissect these proverbs and, take virtual journeys to different parts of the African continent, African culture, because the proverbs that we discuss are untold stories. They are things that have deeper meanings than, what we share. And so that's why I'm here. I have another one from Chad. Our proverb takes us to Chad in Central Africa, and I love, taking these virtual journeys to different parts of the continent. And today's proverb is also very similar to a proverb in my mother tongue. It says, "Arrogance burned the chief's compound." Arrogance burned the chief's compound. When you read this proverb, I'll just read it one more time. Arrogance burned the chief's compound. This proverb speaks to an arrogant leader, basically. When you just read it line by line, it just speaks to a chief who was so arrogant that one day his compound caught on fire and maybe nobody came to help, turn off the fire. Maybe people just watched because the chief probably never listened. And, I experience this a lot personally with my kids. Sometimes I become the arrogant chief. Sometimes as a father, you don't want to hear any perspectives. You just want things to happen the way you want them to happen. Because you know what you want. By the end of the day, especially, if you're the adult and you have 3 little girls that you spend a lot of time with. That's my situation most of the time for the last 8 months. And so, sometimes it's exhausting to be arrogant, and then you can't fix arrogance that has already passed. If you do something arrogantly and it's gone, it weighs a lot in your heart. At the same time, for me, I learn how to forgive myself and I do better and I try again and I try again. So hopefully I'm getting better. And by the time my daughters grow up and become, 37 or even older like myself, they will find better ways of being with each other. But this proverb also applies to leadership, whether it comes to national leadership or global leadership, or even celebrities or influencers. A lot of the time, if you're arrogant, it comes back and impacts you. It impacts your brand, it impacts your organization, it impacts your school. So I think this proverb speaks to humility. It speaks to humility, and I want to invite you all to join me on stage and share with me what you think this proverb means in your own perspective. Because, for example, in Kenya, at the moment as we speak, there is next year we have the national campaigns. And there are primarily 2 contenders. We have, Raila Amolo Odinga, who is he's been a legendary, opposition leader and just reformist, who is known by so many people in Kenya. And then we have the current vice president, and their characters and their personalities are exactly the opposite of each other. The current deputy vice president is known as someone who is, always arrogant, always angry, even on TV sometime. And you find that it costs him a lot. It costs him a lot in terms of PR, in terms of the number of cases he has in court. It's just, arrogance is just so costly, So when I think about this proverb, it also reminded me of, those two personalities that I have to interact and follow keenly what they're doing, because I know that one of them is going to be Kenya's next president. And since I come from Kenya, I pay a lot of attention to this. But I'm curious. I want to hear what you all have to say every day once we open the Daily African Proverbs. If I don't have a guest that I'm interviewing, which I love doing, by the way, in the past few weeks, I've been hosting a number of guests here for the Daily African Proverbs. But sometimes I just invite people who are in the room, like all of you, to share your perspectives on this proverb as well. Again, today's proverb is from Chad, and it says, "Arrogance burned the chief's compound." And I've shared a few different perspectives. One was in relation to, was around my relationship with my daughters, and also as a parent, how sometime I do reflections on my behaviors as I behave, because I know that how I behave is being observed, and and without putting anything else, just thinking about my 3 daughters alone, and how sometimes my behavior, even unconsciously, is something they read and learn and grasp, is always fascinating to me. And it makes me even question and engage with myself in ways that I never used to do. I never found it necessary. And then after talking about the situation with my daughters, I talked about leadership in general and how this applies, on leaders at all levels. This could even apply to leaders at companies, organizations that, I can pinpoint some leaders at organizations I've worked with, but that's probably not appropriate for this conversation. But this is something that I think is alive, and I want to hear what Crystal has to say about it. Crystal, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Share with us your thoughts on today's proverb. Thanks a lot.
Yes, good morning, Simon. I was really sitting with the proverb. I went to your Twitter. Arrogance burned the chief's compound. I think about kindness, empathy, self-awareness. I think about the effect we have on others. Sometimes we feel the need to share truths in a way that are uncensored, or we just may not even be self-aware to realize when we're projecting. And I think everyone inherently thinks they're a good person, but that self-awareness is what's really key, because we can exhibit different types of tendencies, arrogance being one of them. Hi, yes, thank you. When just navigating life in like uh, our own relationships. And in the sense of this proverb, for no one to have shown up, he must have in this proverb, this chief must have really pissed a lot of people off and made a lot of people feel away. And even in a position of power, people will have to respect your position, right? But that doesn't mean that they like you. And then in a moment where your power means nothing. You're, what you are, where you're powerful at, in that moment of vulnerability, no one will help you when you've never made anyone um, feel good to just be around you. So power only works in in the system that it's set up in the environment that it's set up in. It's really kindness and respect in the way that you make people feel, which takes more precedence, I think, than power. Power can be fleeting. That's temporary. I'm not speaking.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I completely agree with your thoughts around this, that how you make people feel is what is most important. And, I appreciate that. I want to welcome, Mala and Joseph and Lavala and Dan and Davon and Dana and Brother to the Daily African Proverbs. We are here dissecting an African proverb from Chad. I would love for you to join me on YouTube. We are live streaming this conversation there as well. If you tap the link at the top of the room, you'll be able to join me on YouTube. And I also want to invite you to ping in, 3 to 5 people into the room so that we can expand the number of people in the village in this moment. And I'm just so grateful that we are all here. And the proverb is, arrogance burned the chief's compound. I would love to know what this proverb means to you. So if you're watching on YouTube, please leave your comment with what this proverb means to you. And if you are on Clubhouse, like my brother Joseph, who is on stage, share with us, join us on stage and share with us what this proverb means to you. Joseph, I hope you're doing well. Share with us your thoughts, please.
Thank you, Simon. And it's always such a pleasure to be in this room. Time to time, when I'm not in this room, I feel like I'm lost. I'm a lost person. I'm an African, and for me, proverbs were uh, something that I grew around with. My grandfather, my grandmothers, they used to tell me or share proverbs to me every day. That's why I'm so glued to this room, and missing it, there's something else that I can't just believe. But just to respond to today's proverbs, arrogance when the chief compound, and this is speaking even in the current life. When you are not humble, when you are not having humility towards anybody, you won't get anything. We say a beggar cannot be a chooser, but at the same time, this proverb is teaching us that when you humble yourself, you will always be helped. I remember my first way which I got my first job. I was so humble. I went to the person and I asked him with humility. If I could have gone with arrogancy by knowing that I do know what the job is all about, that person was going to employ me and I couldn't be experiencing my career as I've been doing. So it's speaking that when you are cheap, learn to become a wise man. Become King Solomon. Understand. Learn to read the people's mind so that you can be able to lead or to have or be able to respond to a good theoretical way of responding when it comes to solving an issue. I remember the other day we were talking about being wise. This is just the continuation of being wise. As a human being, you need not to bring arrogancy within your life. It's always good time to time. It's always good to bring yourself humility, bring yourself down to earth, put yourself on the same level as the person that you're talking to. Because this chief was so arrogant, that's why his compound burned. Because it was not loved, it was not liked by anybody. We can relate this to Shaka Zulu. A lot of people say he was a good warrior, but at the same time, he was a brutal warrior. What happened to him in the end? People step him in the back by his own people. So that's why you always have to bring humility in your life. Be humble, be human, and be respectful. I'm done speaking. My name is Joseph.
Wow, thank you, Joseph. Be humble, be human, and be respectful. I love that. And I love the examples that you shared. I didn't know about that, what you shared about Shaka Zulu. I did not know that before. I didn't know that he was a great warrior, but, not a very humble, or, or he was just an arrogant leader. I didn't know that. So thank you. Welcome to the Daily African Proverbs. To everyone who is just joining us, we are live streaming this conversation on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Simon Javan Okelo. Please join us there and subscribe. And also share this video. I would love to see your comments in regards to today's proverb from Chad. And, I would love also to invite you to follow the club here on Clubhouse at the very top of the room, African Father in America. That's the name of my podcast as well. So after today's conversation, you can catch this whole conversation on the African Father in America podcast, which is available across all podcasting platforms. Joseph, thank you so much. I want to hear from Dana Williams. Thank you, Mrs. No Days Off, for being here. I see Mr. No Days Off is also here with us. Dana, share with us your thoughts on today's proverb. Thank you so much.
Good morning, and thank you, Simon, for allowing me to speak on your platform as always. And to me, what this says to me is everyone knows in order to be named a chef, you have reached a level of excellence. You're not a normal cook and things like that. And a chef knows how to put different types of ingredients together and just make it taste good. Well, if you add arrogance to that, then I believe you stop becoming a student. You get this cocky arrogance, and you let your status define you rather than you defining your status. And when that happens, then whatever you're mixing, it doesn't work, because you're going to add too much of this or not enough of that. It is not going to come out right. Just because you might be the expert in your field doesn't mean you can't learn from somebody else that's an expert or from a upcoming person. And we all know when we have a saying, ego edging God out. So a person that's arrogant, again, you have this cockiness that comes off of you, which makes people not want to be a part of you or be around you. Excuse me, I meant chief, not chef. So everything rises and falls on leadership. So when people are following you, if they don't feel like you care about them, or you make them feel like because you are in a higher position than them, or you have more knowledge or more money or whatever, that you're better than them, then you lose that innocence, you lose that respect, you lose that servant leadership. Now they're going to listen to you because you may be their boss, or, if you're in the military, that might be, your chain of command that outranks you. But at the end of the day, they're only going to do enough so they don't get fired, which will always mean that you'll always have to work harder. And again, you won't have genuine followers. So that's what that says to me. Arrogance, you're edging God out. You've become cocky, closed-minded, a know-it-all, a showboat, and we all know nothing can prosper in that kind of environment. And I turn the platform back over to you.
Wow, thank you so much. Yeah, once you become cocky and closed-minded, nothing thrives in such an environment. That's, a lot of wisdom. Thank you very much, Dana. Let's hear from Zizi. And before that, I just want to welcome everyone who is joining us on YouTube and also on Clubhouse. We are here for the Daily African Proverbs. We are live streaming on YouTube, and we are also, recording this for the African Father in America podcast. I can't do this on my own, and I'm just so grateful to everyone who has already subscribed to my channel. It's growing, and I'm grateful. And also this club, the African Father in America club, is growing. We are almost at 5,000 followers. No, we are almost at 4,000 followers, 3,800. I mean, 4,800 club members. So let's continue inviting people who are not part of the club, and let's continue connecting with each other, and let's also continue sharing this wisdom that we gather in this room. On Instagram, my Instagram account, is now, back to normal. It was hacked for a number of weeks, and it took me a lot of work to regain my Instagram account. So I'm just grateful for that. But I also tweet these, conversations, and I would love for you to engage, help with retweeting if you're on Twitter, and also engage with it on Instagram, share it. Feel free to share this room as your stories on Instagram, and let's help build this community that is helping us, preserve and protect African culture. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm passionate about. Now, Zizi, I'm just grateful that you're here, and I would love to hear your perspectives about this Chadian proverb. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Simon. I really love this group, and I feel this is my home. And I love each one of you. What I'd like to share is a new perspective I just learned. What determines arrogance? Of course, arrogance is a very bad thing, and it would burn anybody's home. But you know what determines whether you're arrogant or not? It's when people think they're humble. Some of us take too much space being humble, and some of us take too small a space. So we're seen as if we're either nothing or arrogant. So the clever thing to do is to be humble and choose the exact space in the exact group that you're in. So you don't take too much and let everybody feel you are too arrogant by expressing yourself in a way that, intimidates others, or you play too humble and then people feel you're nothing, you have nothing to offer. So what determines the arrogance is how much space we take as individuals in a group. Are we taking too much space? Are we taking too little? Are we just taking the right space that makes you fit as a normal, humble, or just a normal human being? So that's my perspective, Simon. I think we have to watch how much we think we are arrogant and how much space are we taking in the group that we're in. Thank you.
Oh, Zizi, that's beautiful and so true. I think I should say it's painfully true, because it's something that I personally struggle with every day. I struggle with staying, with staying humble, and also taking space, and ensuring I am myself. But at the same time, I know that, first of all, where I live, I'm an African immigrant, and you can only make so much noise, until people feel that you're a nuisance. And then it's just a delicate place, especially in the era of social media, where there are so many people who are going to interpret whatever you're putting out, and they might even weigh it with a measurement of arrogance, the way you've described it. So it's a delicate balance, and I feel that finding how to be yourself in the midst of all of it is the magical place to be, and that's what I'm always aiming for, and that's what I'm always trying to be. But it's very hard. It's very, very hard. And earlier on, at the beginning of our conversation here today, I was sharing my perspectives on this proverb, and I was sharing that sometimes I come off as if I'm arrogant to my own daughters, and that's in how they respond to me, and then sometimes I come off as too humble, and they just they just walk all over me. And then when I'm right in the middle, where I also give them space to be themselves, I find that I'm also myself. So I feel that if you can find a sweet spot to be yourself, you might influence other people around you to maybe be themselves too. But I want to invite Ranji. Ranji, thank you for joining us. I would love to hear your perspectives on today's
Yes,
proverb. Go ahead, Zizi.
Simon, can I just add one more point?
Yes,
I
yes, yes.
think I meant by that is that you measure your space depending on the group you're talking to and the time. Like, with your children, sometimes you have to humble, sometimes you have to be arrogant. But you measure that space that you need to occupy by the group that you're talking to or you're with at the moment. It's not a personality trait. It's something that you have to keep being aware of and measure it every time.
Yes, yes. It's true. It's true. It requires awareness, though. You have to put in some work in it. It's not just going to happen, but once you practice it and sustain it over time, it can help you so much. Anyhow, thank you, Zizi. Ranji, thank you for your patience. And Dan, I can't wait to hear from you. And Dr. MD Williams, thank you for being here. And Bibi, I'm so grateful. I want to hear more voices on stage. So join me on stage if you can. Just raise your hands and I'll bring you up. In 4 minutes, I'll be turning off hand raising. This is for those who are on Clubhouse. And then I want to invite you to ping in people into the room, please. Thank you so much. 3 to 5 people. I would love to see that. Thank you so much. Ranji.
Yes, thank you so much, Simon. I'm a huge fan of the African proverbs. Hi, everybody. My name is Ranji. I am from India, and right now I speak from Bangalore, India. Arrogance burned the chief's compound. Now, I think most of the speakers before me spoke about arrogance, and I want to shift the spotlight to the word compound. Now, what is the significance of the word compound? Can a compound be burnt, first of all? So if it can be burned, then it must be made of leaves and branches. Then what is the significance and meaning of that? Is it a beautiful compound? Right? And remember, it's a compound that is not made of bricks and iron. Right? It's a compound that can easily burn. That's the beauty of the statement that I kept thinking about. And what is it? And the second part I want to focus is what is it that the external, if the compound breaks, if the compound burns, in this case, if it burns, what does that mean? The external comes to the internal. So maybe the external there's threat, and internal is safety, right? So in a village, if one looks at a compound, a village often makes a compound through leaves, branches, twigs, and danger from what? We are most often than not in a village we look at danger from animals. That's the threat, especially wild animals. So this is the external statement, and it's the external and the internal. The external really is that have an compound that help us navigate through space, time, and people, and situations and circumstances. Sometimes that compound really is not really bricks and iron and twigs and leaves. Uh, the compound is there to kind of also help you, indicate you that there is certain dangers outside which you need to take care of your internal, right? And hence I feel the compound is a place of celebration. It is a space between the external and the internal. It is a space between danger and the not so dangerous part, which is you. So the compound is an indication of not a person, but a group of people, a wide, vast majority of people. Like Zizi rightly said, you measure your space, but the group of people you're talking to. So perhaps the group of people you're talking to is within that compound, and that compound is not really built out of bricks and stones and iron and whatnot. It's built out of twigs and branches and leaves. With that, I pause. Thank you so much for your time.
Wow, thank you, Ranji. I love your thoughts, and I love how you focused a lot on the compound, and what was it made out of, and I realized that the compound is fragile, and as you are speaking, it occurred to me that the compound could also be our bodies, really. That arrogance could, your body could be the compound, but your subconscious is the chief that has the ability to observe your body and see what's going on with it. As you're speaking, I was just imagining all sorts of things, and just appreciating how one single proverb has so many different perspectives, that we can learn in just an hour of being together. Let's hear from Dr. M.D. Williams. I'm really grateful for your continued support. Share with us your perspectives on this proverb.
Thanks, Simon. This proverb reminds me of a couple stories, but I'm not going to tell them here on this platform. It reminds me of a couple stories that I had with of my experience in business. But arrogance burned a chief's compound. Listen, there is a fine line between confidence and arrogance, and I had to struggle with this as I came up in my leadership, and I had to struggle with this as I came up in business. And I still I don't struggle with this anymore internally because I know I've accepted it, and I know my confidence level. But when I'm dealing with a lot of people, one of the things that I learned when I reached the level of doctor, one of the things that I learned is that a lot of people that have reached that level, they they attempt to hide it because of the fact that uh, people will come to them that are not doctors, or people that will come to them and say, well, because you're a doctor of me, executive leadership, you think you know everything. So they downgrade themselves and they remove that title of doctor, something that is a title that they earned. It took years of experience and education to gain. Or they'll switch it and they'll put it behind their name because they don't want people to know exactly what kind of doctor they are. By me putting doctor in front of my name, it is a level of confidence. Okay, it's not arrogance. But here's my definition of arrogance, and the difference between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is you thinking you're better than me, or you're acting like you're better than me, and you remind me about it every day with your words and your actions, and you direct it towards me as if you're better than me, and you remind me every day about that, right? Or every time you see me. That's arrogance, and that's a negative psychology to have. Confidence is me knowing that I might be better than you. I might have more knowledge than you. As a doctor of executive leadership and years of research and study on different forms and types of research, I've even developed a new leadership approach. My confidence is knowing that I know that, but I don't have to remind you of that every day. I still can have a conversation with people about leadership, even though I know I have more knowledge than them on leadership, right? So that's a positive psychology because I have a student-like mindset. See, arrogance is knowing I'm better than you, and I have to remind you that every day. So, for instance, if Simon and I are having a conversation on leadership, and Simon starts talking to me about leadership, and I tell Simon, well, Simon, you don't know leadership because I'm the doctor of executive leadership. See, that's arrogance. But confidence is, listen, Simon knows I'm a doctor of executive leadership. Simon is a leader in his own right. Simon is leading this platform. Simon is leading his family. Simon is a leader. So guess what? I'm learning from Simon. Simon and I are learning from each other. See, that's confidence, right? That's confidence. That's not arrogance, because arrogance is negative. Confidence is positive. And one of the things that I've learned, even at my level that I'm at now, is one thing I learned. People will still come to me, and people are still intimidated by me because they learned that, well, wait a minute. He's a doctor of executive leadership. Man, this guy has years of experience in leadership in different forms. I've been in the military. I have led people in combat. I have brought people home in caskets, leading them home, and I brought people home alive. I've led people in business. I've built a marketing team that encompassed 13, over 13 states in the United States, over 1,000 people. And that was my first venture in business. My wife and I, not me by myself. Mrs. Dr. No Days Off did it too, right? But ladies and gentlemen, that's why I have the confidence that I have. Your confidence, ladies and gentlemen, is a positive psychology. It's not a negative psychology. But when you start having to remind people of how good you are, and you start putting people down because of your experience and your expertise and your knowledge, then it no longer becomes confidence. It's now arrogance, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, and I talk to a lot of doctors about this, and I teach a lot of professionals and experts in this, and say there's nothing wrong with you having the confidence that you have. A lot of people that meet me and sit down with me, I've had people tell me, "You're very cocky," and I look at them and I smile, and I say, "Well, what makes you say that?" And when they start telling me, well, you're cocky because, you have all this knowledge. You have, you don't bow down to people, or you're not afraid to let people know that you have all this knowledge. I said, that's not cocky. I'm just confident in myself. And because you're intimidated by me, your attempt is to knock me down to your level so you can feel comfortable about yourself. That's not my problem. That's your problem that you have to deal with, not me. But now, if I came across you and I walked up to you, and my name is Dr. M.D. Williams, and I'm a doctor of executive leadership, and there's nothing you could teach me about leadership, and no, I'm here to teach you everything about leadership. That's arrogance, ladies and gentlemen. That's arrogance. But if I'm Dr. M.D. Williams, better known as Dr. No Days Off, and I'm a doctor of executive leadership, and I'm here today for we can share knowledge on leadership, and I can learn from you, and you can learn from me. And I stand up in front of you, and I begin teaching. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just my confidence level. But like I said, I can learn from you like you can learn from me. And if anybody in leadership knows, their leadership has several levels, right? There is no one level of leadership, and there is no one type of leadership. There are different forms of leadership, and leadership is self-evolving. So leadership is not it's not a tangible object. It's intangible, and it's self-evolving. So everybody can learn that. I love how Simon, I'm going to turn the platform back over to you, Simon. I love how Simon comes in and says, sometimes he comes off cocky to his daughters, and sometimes he comes off, too humble. That's fatherhood, right? I have two daughters. Mine are older than Simon's, but I have two daughters. And my daughters, growing up, people are like, well, your dad, he's just intimidating. And my daughters laugh. They're like, you don't know my dad. He's funny. He does talk. He talks a lot, and he likes to have fun. But when they see me, because I stand with because I stand in front of everybody on the outside world with a lot of confidence in me, it comes off as intimidating. But ladies and gentlemen, arrogance will burn a chief's compound. I've seen it happen. It has happened many times to people that I've been in business with, and their arrogance, trust me, arrogant. I mean, very arrogant, because they reminded you how good they are. But ladies and gentlemen, those compounds fail. Trust me, they fail. Call back over to you, Simon.
Wow. Thank you very much, Dr. M.D. Williams. I'm grateful for your perspectives, and I appreciate how you also shared with us the difference between arrogance and confidence, and why it's important to be confident. I agree with the idea of embracing your confidence. Thank you again. I want to hear from Bibi and brother and Jihad and Nohe and also Fred, but I want to welcome Peace and Faline and Sarah and Devon and Joy Noel and Javan into the room. We do this every single day, lately Monday to Friday. We do this daily African proverbs as a way for us to make our ancestors proud and to make them smile, because these proverbs that we discuss are not new. these proverbs were discussed by many other people, especially people of African descent from the various African countries that we get these proverbs from. Many, including my mom, they shared these proverbs, and this is how we nourished each other, but we also protected and preserved our culture this way. So by you spending your time here with us, or watching this later on YouTube, or listening to the replay, you're helping us preserve our culture, and I am extremely grateful for that. Bibi, I hope you're doing well. Share with us your thoughts on today's proverb from Chad. And if you don't know what the proverb for today is, it says, "Arrogance burned the chief's compound." If you're watching this on YouTube, share with us what it means to you. Bibi, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Simon. Hi, Zizi. Hi, everyone else. Hi, Celine. I see you. Good to be here. And yes, I love it. And especially how Dr. Williams shared that, especially when it comes to parenthood, when you have a teenager who's a boy and you're teaching him how to be confident or have confidence in himself. And sometimes when he goes out there, when he's with his peers, I don't know what goes on there, but sometimes he tries to come back and try me. By that, I mean, try to be arrogant to me instead of using his confident voice that I teach him at home. So, of course, being the parent, I have to step up and be a little bit arrogant, so that way he knows who the elder is in my case. And I try to do it in a very respectful way as well, not the way our parents did to us back home, because I'm trying to be more of a conscious parent with this new age parenting thing. So in parenthood, I think every now and then using arrogance just a little bit in a confident manner, it's not bad, especially when dealing with teenagers. But yes, I would definitely say whenever using the arrogance, if you're using it to intimidate your enemies, that's a different story. And as far as the chief goes, the chief is supposed to be our leader and the man in charge of everyone else. So of course, if you go about mistreating people, they may be the one who has set up the fire in the first place to burn the whole compound. So my take is just be aware. Just be aware of how you treat people and how others treat you as well. And that's my simple take for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bibi. Yes, I agree. Be aware of how you treat other people, and also be aware of how other people treat you. I also loved the example of your son learning confidence from you, and then going out there into the world, whether it's at school, and coming back home and trying to be arrogant and trying to test you. And I was just laughing when you're saying that, because I can totally relate. With my daughters, I try to teach them, also how to be confident, also how to be confident in their African heritage, and even eating African food, embracing their African names. And it takes time, it takes a lot of work and intentionality, and like you're saying, being a conscious parent, which is not easy. So I commend you. Now I want to hear from brother, but before I do that, I just want to say welcome my brother Johnny Nogood to the Daily African Proverbs. It's been a while since I had the privilege of hosting you, and also welcome to Nga and Vital and Otto, everybody else in the room. I'm just giving a shout out to those who I have not given a shout out yet. Dr. Moby, the Explorer, thank you so much for being here. I'm just so grateful. We do this Daily African Proverbs every single day. We started doing this in January, and I have been supported by a big community of people, including most of you in this room right now. So I'm just so grateful. And, we expanded a few months ago and started live streaming these conversations on YouTube, so that if Clubhouse goes away, we are still able to, share this valuable content with our community. So thank you again for all the support. Brother, share with us your thoughts.
Peace and love, family. Always an honor to speak on your platform and to hear the different measures and understandings. Like I said, to me, a lot of time looking at these proverbs, it helps to critical thinking, and a lot of people don't critically think anymore. That's why I always find these interesting. And what I would say about arrogance burned the chief's compound is to me, arrogance is what fills one's cup up so they aren't able to receive. They know everything. You can't tell them anything. And, being a chief or being one in a leadership position, it's important that you have a loving support of the people because they want to see you succeed. They want to see you prosper. But if you lead from a place of arrogance, a lot of times they might get a thrill or a little rush seeing the compound burn. So it's important that we always, choose love over hate and be willing to, in a leadership position, you got to be willing to listen and learn and grow if somebody comes to you with better advice, information, or understanding. And again, y'all said it before, but it takes a level of humility. And you can't be arrogant and humble at the same time. And I park my plane right there. This is Brother Earth.
Thank you, brother. I agree. You cannot be humble and arrogant at the same time. I just appreciate that so much, and I appreciate you and for your continued support. Every time you join us, I just learn so much. Thank you very much. Jihad, thank you again for joining us. It means a lot. I would love to get your perspectives on today's proverb from Chad. Thank you so much.
Hey, you're asking me right now. Can you come back to me? I'm a little bit busy at the moment.
Yes, no
Probably
problem.
5 to 10 minutes. Thank
No
you so much.
problem,
It's
Jihad.
an honor.
No problem. Thank you for being here. Now, I just want to, welcome you, my brother Nohe, so that you can share with us your perspectives as well. And, when you joined us in the room, I read this proverb again and thought about the situation in Ethiopia. And, I felt that this applies to the current leader of Ethiopia. I think he's is a little arrogant, and I think that's why his compound is burning. What do you say about that, Nohe? Share with us your perspectives and just speak to what I'm sharing as well. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for everything you're doing to make it better for the people of Tigray and your community in general.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings, and I really, really do appreciate you, Simon, for day in, day out, for bringing all these amazing proverbs from our ancestors, from the motherland, the mother continent. This proverb indeed hits a home run to us, to what's happening in Ethiopia, the Ethiopian government, to the people of Tigray. And it shows you, first and foremost, I see this proverb of how a person can be viewed as ignorant when they have a confidence, and sometimes they can be viewed as the way they are. And one of the people that I always use as an example is Gary Neville. He's one of the great speakers, and a lot of people tend to take him as arrogant. But again, if you really truly understand him and see his actions and his the way what he's saying, and action, and when you put your mouth into your action and your action to your mouth, then that shows you how confident you are. That's what differentiates a person's confidence with a person who's in arrogance. And when it comes to when it says like arrogance burned the chief's compound, is how much confidence. Sorry, how much confidence the Ethiopian prime minister was at the beginning in everything, and till this day, he's super confident. And however, like when you don't have that humanity, when you don't have that respect to humanity, when you don't have that compassion to show to others, and that's where you lack the humility, the respect that you should gain, and that's where you start to see your house, your compound being burned due to the lack of humanity and the lack of integrity that you have, that the people have on you for what they believe in you. And this prime minister, obviously, quote unquote Nobel Peace Prize winner, and like for that you'd be able to see like, well, there's a reason why he's the winner. Yet when you see his actions, when a person's telling you, for example, like one of his most quote is when he say, Tigray is like an engine of a car. A car cannot go without an engine. So Ethiopia cannot go without Tigray. Tigray being the engine of the car. And now you see, even including today, he like about 3 hours and 30 minutes ago, we heard he's been bombarding the civilians in Tigray, and it shows you how much his words and his actions are absolutely on the different spectrum, and that's like an absolute example of this quote. And yep, whenever you are, wherever you are, thank you so much again, Simon, and everyone. Please keep Tigray, our family members, in your prayers. We haven't heard any words or anything from them because due to the government put a blockage and no humanitarian access to that region and all those. So keep us, and as you can see on my picture, there's a big Twitter awareness that we're doing this Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. And I'm hosting it with several of my brothers and sisters, and I would love to see you all in that. And thanks so much again. I yield the mic back to you, Simon.
Thank you, Brother Nohe, and thank you for sharing with us, what's going on in Ethiopia and Tigray and how this proverb applies. I will follow up with you in regards to the event that you're doing on Thursday. Thank you again, everyone on stage, Crystal, thank you for being here since the room began. I would love to hear from Fred, and then, we will just share quick closing remarks and end our conversation for today. If you're just joining us, we are here for the daily African proverbs. Every day we dissect a new African proverb from a different part of the continent. And today our journey takes us to Chad, where we are discussing a proverb that says, arrogance burned the chief's compound. What does this proverb mean to you? If you are using Twitter, you can find me on Twitter by tapping on my profile here on Clubhouse, and you can share with us your thoughts there. If my Twitter handle is at Okelo Javan, and if you are on YouTube, you should subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. My channel is Simon Javan Okelo. That's one way that you can help, grow this community so that we can sustain this effort to preserve and protect African culture, one proverb each day. You can also, help us grow this club, the African Father in America Club. Invite others if you are already a member. And, by the way, let me know in the DM if you will be here tomorrow for the daily African proverbs. I just want to add more of you who are in the room right now as co-hosts to the conversation tomorrow, so that you have it on your Clubhouse calendar That way you can share it with your community and invite people before our session tomorrow. I am super grateful, and I want to make sure we hear from Fred. Fred, share with us your perspectives, please.
Thanks a lot. The first thing I always like to do is get the etymological base of words before I put the full scope on it. So I'm gonna read a quick sentence for arrogance: a manifest feeling of superiority of one's worth or importance, combined with contempt of others. The first part of that is nothing wrong. A manifest feeling of superiority of your worth. I played a lot of sports, and I was on a lot of teams where we had a lot of arrogant guys. We all were great in what we were doing, and we brought that together. Well, togetherness, compound. That's people join together. That's the compound in this scenario. With the word chief, I was taught that the main job of a chief is to create other chiefs, build them up. You can be great, but also recognize the greatness of others and bring them together, and you're building a chiefdom. So when you are feeling superior and you have a disdain for others that are not on your level, that's where the arrogance kick in. Because if you have contempt for them, you're going to destroy them, hence burn them up. That's what I get out of the arrogance burning the chief's compound. When you are so superior that you can't stand others, that you destroy them, and you don't bring people together because of your contempt, hence arrogance. That's what I get out of that.
Wow, thank you so much. I feel like your voice and the way that you calmly summarized your depiction, you vividly described it, and I just appreciate that so much. And it takes me back to how many people who joined us on stage today have just spent time in this compound with this chief and tried to figure out why was he so arrogant that his compound got burned down. And I just want to give Crystal a chance to share closing remarks, and then we end the room, because she was probably she was the first person to join us in the room earlier today. I just want to hear her quick perspectives, closing remarks, and then we are going to end our conversation, and I'll just say a few things right before we end. Thank you so much. Crystal, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. No, I mean, I always look forward to these spaces, hearing other people's interpretations of proverbs. I can say your position in power may change for sure. I think we all have our highs and lows, but people will always carry memories of the experiences we have with each other. And so being mindful, having mindful engagements with people, so that we're not out here projecting, because we can be consumed by our own experiences and outlooks on life. And like I said earlier, we all think inherently that we're good people, and we don't even realize sometimes how we may be responding through traumas, and we can sometimes be perceived in negative ways like arrogance, and that just means we just need to tap into that and do the work, the self-awareness. In this case, it was a chief, a powerful chief, and everyone has to revere the chief. But in that moment of vulnerability, there was no one around to help, because that arrogance, um, the energy that he gave off, it people, he was not very well liked. And you want to be able, in your low moments, in those times you do need help, you do want to have a certain type of rapport where people will be willing to help. And that goes back to how you treat people when you're in a position of power. So I definitely took a lot to reflect, and how this could be applied in just my own day to day. I mean, I'm not a chief of a village, but I am the chief of my own life. I do have that autonomy. So this can apply to me directly. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Crystal, for those wonderful closing remarks. Thank you to everybody else who joined us, when we started this room at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow. I still want, to ask for your support in regards to subscribing to my YouTube channel. That's a big way of supporting and also sharing it. Dr. No Days Off has my YouTube channel on his own website, which is something I learned when I interviewed him as a guest last week. I'm also inviting you to join me as a guest if you'd like. I'm always looking for guests that I can engage in a podcast interview format, but focusing on these beautiful African proverbs. So let me know. And then lastly, I'm always looking for new proverbs from different parts of the continent. So if you love African proverbs and you're watching this or you're listening to this, send me a note. The best way to do that is through my website, www.simonjavanokelo.com. I'm so grateful. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Peace and love.
African father in America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. Africa, tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. America. Tujikaze, tujikaze, jikaze. You are listening to African Father in America podcast by Simon Javan.